Well, fitness and safety. That's what we want to talk about today, to have a conversation around that, those two aspects. I believe, as we are gearing up, to ensure that we are fit, living healthy, and making sure that you're doing some activities here and there, whether you're at home or you go to the gym. But safety is a big thing. Yeah. Safety is really a big thing. I for one, I remember one time I ended up hurting my hand, and I broke my hand, and it was one of those painful ordeals. I wasn't in the country. I was far away from home. Where I was, that community don't really. I mean, it's just them. Even though I was a pastor, the first time they showed up, they said, "Oh, we're really sorry," but most of the times I was alone. So that's the day I realized it's such a blessing to know how to tie your shoelaces. I realize it's hard. It's very difficult to tie with one hand or cutting an orange. But that happened. I was going through all that, and I had to even stop the working out because I had hurt my hand, and it took months. It took me around 6 months to go back to working out. Though I still did a few workouts that were not as stressful or intense, but I can tell you it's a big thing. Yeah. It's a big thing. So I don't know what, ladies, you have to say about this whole matter. How do we work out, but at the same time we are safe? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the most important thing for every workout you're doing, number one is your posture. So what is your posture? So if you're carrying your weights and your shoulders are up here and you're doing that work, you strain your neck muscles. So it's simple things. So I think posture is very key. So even as you're doing the workout, it's also good to watch the tutorials. What are they calling out that you need to be careful of? Because it's things you don't think about unless someone calls it out. Maybe it's a shoulder shrug. If they don't call it out, you'll be lifting your weights with your shoulders up here. Wow. Chances of injuries are very key. Or if you're going to be doing your squats, how are you doing them? Are your knees coming to the front? So you're putting a strain to your knees. You have knee issues. So for whatever workout it is, always look at the tutorial. What are the instructions to ensure that you have the correct posture?
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think for me, this is one of the key things we emphasize on, especially when you're doing cardio. Sometimes you'll find somebody walking in and they're just wearing their normal flat heel shoes and their rubber shoes and all, and you're thinking, if you're going to be jumping high, you need a shoe that can absorb that impact. So heel support.
So the shoe matters, yeah?
Yes. That heel support is so important because if you're going to be landing, and especially if you're working out on a floor that is not the appropriate, like the wooden floor and all that, you really need to have that heel support that is able to absorb the impact when you land down. So having the correct shoes is so important, especially when you're doing cardio. And then again, even if you're not doing cardio and you're doing your squats or you're doing your lunges or you're doing your plies and you're splitting your legs, you also need shoes with a grip. Wow. Because it's very easy to find yourself slipping off as you're trying to do an exercise and you can land on your knee. And then you'll be talking of something else. And then there are also those injuries that just come gradually as you work out, especially if you're not having the right kind of, like Kathy talked about, posture. If you're going to slide like your leg back and you're doing like your calf stretch, for example, you may find yourself rotating, your ankle and all that. And that again will slowly have an impact on your ankle muscles, your calf and all that. And later on you realize, I'm having this pain, where did it come from? And yet it's been a build-up. So I think what Kathy has said, apart from just having the right shoes, the right posture, is also just checking and making sure that if you're doing workout, especially alone at home without an instructor, that you watch the tutorials to find out what is the right way of doing this kind of exercise that I'm doing. If I'm going to be doing lifting my knees, how do I start? And I think maybe one of the pointers that I talked about maybe in our earlier conversations is somebody walks into an exercise class, or even it's at home and you're thinking, let me start my skips, and you start straight away and I'm doing like 100, 200, 300 and no warm-ups. So in terms of safety, warm-up is something that you cannot really do away with. You have to warm up before you do any fitness, any exercise. And at the same time, you have to do your stretches at the end. Yeah, you have to stretch your muscles at the end. That is something that you cannot avoid, whether you like it or not.
Amazing. So that means if you're walking in, say you're going to a gym and people are already started, the activities are started, don't skip the warm-up bit.
Yes.
No matter what. You must warm up and get into it.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's something that we must take into account so that we don't experience any injury. And what if somebody experiences an injury? What happens? Are there exercises somebody can do? You know, here I am, like now for me, I broke my hand, you know, and I had the cast on. Here I was eating, and I could tell I was a bit uncomfortable. I know very well, and I think we've actually, earlier on, we were having that conversation in terms of when you start, I mean, if you've had a lifestyle of working out, then something goes haywire, you know, you can't work out, you feel awkward, you know, how do you go at it?
So I think the most important thing is, what does your healthcare advisor say?
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're going for your physio, what are they saying? Because at times you feel like, I think I'm okay, but then they're telling you need to slow it down.
Yes.
You know, so it's very important to listen to them, because at times we want to hurry it back and go back to our usual lifestyle, because that's what we know, and then you end up going back to square one. Yeah. So something that might have taken 6 months, for example, may take 1 year, because you have interfered with the healing process. So you healed and then you get another injury on top of that. So whatever your healthcare advisor advises, it's important to listen to them. And then always begin from the lowest level and then work your way up. So yes, you were here doing your HIIT workout.
Which is so demoralizing. You know, you at some level, at some point, you know.
Yes, and then now you have to begin here. Yeah, because as we were saying earlier, also listening to your body and saying, am I able to do this or not, you know, and look for the variations. You know, don't feel the pressure of having to go right to the highest level, you know. Yeah, so look for the variations and pace yourself. Yeah, remember, it's a lifestyle. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint and then you're done.
I agree.
You know, so it's very important to pace yourself, because you want to continue working out and sustaining it in the long run.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, and one of the key things I always say is that don't be afraid to ask, because I think one of the things that most people struggle with is just asking for advice. Like, if, for example, I'm not able to run, what can I do instead? You know, if I'm not able to lift my knees so high, what can I be able to do that as an alternative? If I'm not able to do those jacks, what can I do? I can still take my heels to the side and I'm still doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm working out the correct muscle groups. So I think asking for advice, she's talked about the healthcare professionals, but then if you're working out, especially in a gym, or if you know the other professionals in the field, you can ask and say, I'm on the recovery, I'm on the road to recovery, but I'm not able to do my full workout as I was doing before. What are some of the alternatives or suggestions that you can advise? Because I think, especially if you're recovering, it's important to make sure that you consult, just so that you don't end up damaging your tissues further.
Wow, that's amazing. And the points are right there. Ask. You know, it's interesting. And some of us, I don't know, I've done it before, where you walk into a gym and you pretend as if you know, and I've seen guys falling off. I almost one day fell off. It was actually a treadmill, you know, and and you're there, you know, pressing buttons. Sooner or later, that thing was the speed, you know, and it's just because I didn't ask. So please ask. So whether you have an injury, and I think even if you don't have an injury, just ask. It's interesting to know that there are exercises that people can even do, and you guys mentioned it at some point, that not in this video but earlier on, that there are things that people can do even when they're seated. You know, I mean, you can't stand, you can't walk, but there's an exercise you can do even at that very particular moment. I feel safety is critical, and just as we highlighted in this conversation of ours, you know, please ask for help, listen to your you call it what, health?
Your body, your
Healthcare,
healthcare professional.
The healthcare professionals,
Yeah.
body healthcare professionals,
Yes.
listen to them, you know. We also mentioned how you have to pace yourself. You don't have to begin up there,
Yes.
you know, begin actually low. You don't have to be where you are at
Yeah.
in the past. But the most important thing, as we always say, I think it's important for you to do something
Yes.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep moving.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
Keep
Yeah.
moving.
So without the injuries, make sure you're moving. Our bodies were created to move. So God bless you, and we pray that the Lord will grant you healing, just in case you might be, having to face with some injuries in terms of your body. But the good news to us today is that there is a solution.
Yeah.
There is a way out. The amazing ladies that we have here, their contact is right in the description. You can always reach out to us or to them, and they will be able to give you more advice and more counsel to be a better version of yourself in terms of your body and your soul. So in case you have any other question, please feel free to ask on whichever platform you're watching us from, and we will respond to the same. The Lord bless you, and for now it is bye-bye.